Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mukta Girdar. I am a freelancer and working in the field of disaster management, training, and consultancies since last 18 years. This webinar has been organized by Institute of Fire Engineers and Service International. This is the first venture, so best of luck to both the organization and all of us. We all know that we are in lockdown situation, so that is the best way to communicate with each other. You know that today's topic is Vizag gas strategy to think seriously. Before to start the session, just I want to request you all that if you have any queries, you can put those queries with the name, with your name on the chat box, which is in the downside. If you can say on your screen, there is participants, chat, share screen, and record. So in chat box, you just write down your queries and we will answer those queries after end of the each session. One or two questions will address and rest all, if time permits, we will address those queries in end of the session. We have four participant experts with us. And this session, I will start from the incidents, how it happens. And rest four, they will give their expert opinion about this incidents. Shristi, please unlock my screen sharing.
You should be able to share now.
Okay, thank you so much. I will briefly explain about this incident. As you know, it's a Vizag gas leak, which is reminding us to think seriously. This incident happened on a very early morning between 3:30 to 4 on 7th May 2020 when lockdown was on. This gas leak happened on the polymer plant, India. This is situated in Vishakhapatnam, outskirts of Vishakhapatnam. All of a sudden, so many people, they started rushing outside. Some felt consciousness, unconsciousness. Some are having breathing problem. Some are having uneasiness, burning sensation on their eyes. But nobody understood what was happening. They started rushing towards open space and towards the hospital along with their near and dear one. As you can see on this image, some people, they won't be able to tolerate this gas, so they died on the drainage because they rushed and they inhaled a lot of this toxin gas. Somehow, these people have been rescued towards hospital through the ambulance, and initially on the day one, 9 people were died, and near about 100 people have been admitted into the hospital. Next day, this death toll reached up to 13 people, and near about 300 people have been reported injured. So, in the next, they all around the periphery of 5 kilometers, all people have been evacuated through different modes, maybe some transport, some e-rickshaw, some trucks, wherever they can. As per the media, there are so many investigations. So before to go on the further, let's have a location of this plant. This plant is located in the outskirts of Visakhapatnam. The village name is R. Venkatpuram, which is close to Gopalpatnam. And this LG Polymer India had been started in the India in 1961. And that time, this plant named as Hindustan Polymer. They used to produce plastic, polystyrene, copolystyrene, and engineering plastics. This plant was very big. These are some products which they have been manufactured. In 1978, it has been merged with Metro and Co. 1997, it again a South Korean company named as LG Chemical. They took over this Hindustan Polymer and they renamed this LG Chemical Polymer India. When this incident happened, that time, report says that environmental impact assessment clearance has to be taken. But since so long, from 1978 to 1998, it was not being taken. as if it was a polymer chemical plant, so it falls in category A. So although it was very important to take clearance from pollution, from environment, Ministry of Health and Environment, and from other formalities. At the same time, from 1961 to 1978, this plant has grown in fivefold. Central Pollution Control Board is very important to take permission at first from them, but they thought that this approval is enough. And in 2018, when they have decided to launch a new product which is known as polystyrene, and then they have sent, and this polystyrene is used for waters and their lips. So they sent their application to clearance for environmental impact assessment on the Ministry of Health and Environment, and they sent back this application to these LG Chemicals that there is no such any approval have been taken previously, so please review this application. The authorities of this plant, they have said that we have implemented all the law which have been come into the Indian law and policies. We have done whatever the officials have instructed us. So the lawyer said, no, there is a Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board, they have the right to disapprove their approval to continue this plant. But as per the Pollution Control Board, they said that we have only permission to give the pollution clearance. We don't have any control on the safety measures. So again, the experts, they took a lot of investigations. In fact, National Disaster Management Authority also came to the particular place and they have investigated with all the respects. And they said that there is a gas which is styrene, which has been leakage from that plant. But apart from that, there were so many other gas leakage. But styrene gas has a chemical qualities. That is why it is spread near about 3 to 4 kilometers. On May 11th, 2020, NDMA have declared that there are near about 30,000 metric ton styrene liquid was there. So they said this liquid had to be immediately shipped from this place. So this plant, they brought two containers. One is 8,000 metric ton and other one is 5,000 metric ton. And in that they have filled this styrene liquid along with the help of Ministry of Shipping, Government of India, and it sent back to South Korea, its head office, which is situated in Seoul. So then rescue work have been already done on that place. In 7th May, when the first people have said that it was this incident was happened because after reopening of this plant after lockdown. And because of this lockdown, there were some computer glitches, and when temperature were increased, not been reported during maintenance time. It was happened on May 13th. Government have been brought a new gas, which is known as port something, and which has been spread all over the plant to neutralize the impact on this styrene gas. Other investigation has said that there may be some problem on the wall. So the government, have decided to give the excretia of 1 crore rupees each people who been died. Divisional Magistrate of Visakhapatnam have been fined 50,000 crore rupees to people, LG Polymer India plant people, to mitigate the damage which has been done after this disaster. So, as disaster and management expert, my views are, if you look at, this is not the single incident. If you look back, in 1984, there was a Bhopal gas plant. Near about 4,000 people were died, and still newborn people have their impact on it. In 2011, there is another incident in Pimpri Chinchwad, Pune. 2014, Bhilai gas steel plant, they have some leakage problem. 7 people were died. In 2018, Ratnagiri, Mumbai. 2019, 21 workers hospitalized due to the chemical gas. But these are the incidents which have been reported. There are so many which has not been reported. If you look at the policy, guidelines are there, but if you look at the how much it has been imbibed, no idea. People are aware, nobody is aware. They don't know what measures they have to take. So if you look at in a ground level, there is nothing precaution, no disaster management plan. In fact, this plant where it has been situated, it has been surrounded by so many hospitals and the schools. So there is the law. If such plant is situated, it has to be away from the residential areas. That is how my analysis. Now we have experts with us. They will give the technical inputs and their expert opinion. Now I would like to invite Mr. R.C. Sharma. He is our very own ex-director from Delhi Fire Service. He has a very, very rich experience, not only the administration, but to fight fire in the fields. So let's welcome Mr. R.C. Sharma. Please, sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mukhtaji.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I made out some sort of brief, some slides are there. I'll just go through those in order to just have a my assessment of the situation, depending upon whatever is available on this. I'll share the screen. On the screen, the things are there, so I'll come to that presentation. Okay, can you see that presentation? Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, right. I'll just start that. See, I just would like to go through only the whatever has been said into this tragedy, the way it has happened. The morning 3:30, the gas leak was probably known, and they informed the police first. So first team of police reached there at 4 o'clock. That's 4 a.m. So just about half an hour. Then about 4:30 a.m. fire service arrives, and they were informed. We don't know whether they were informed by police or they were informed by the LG plant. 4:45 a.m. first police they informed. 5 p.m. The police commissioner arrives. 5:30 DC arrives, district commissioner, district collector. 6 o'clock NDRF reached, and 6:30 major this part of the evacuation process completed. So anyway, by going through these things, I am of one particular thing. The way things have gone wrong, there is a lot of delay which has occurred in the intimation to the fire brigade. If that was done in time, probably we could have a faster evacuation, and the number of people who died, 13 or so, could have been reduced considerably. The other things which we have, I feel that they should have been there. Now, the first thing is the fire service arrives 4:30, 3:30. The incident is they say come to notice the police. Now, one thing is there, what time actually it happened, when they informed to police first, who informed and who informed to fire department. That is not clear from here. Maybe that some of the speakers from that, they will be able to do that. But what I want to convey from this is that there has been a delay in intimating fire department, and people reaching there from the police. I mean, when anybody reaches in such a incident, they have to be with the breathing apparatus. So what the police people who reached there, were they having the breathing apparatus? Otherwise, they will not be able to do anything. They'll be standing a little away. Wherever they get the gas, they stand back behind this place. So your divisional commissioner and commissioner of police, they reached there, whether they were having the breathing equipment, that is to be seen. A Sterin-related 21 incident. Now, we have got these incidents. I tried to look into the Google search. I found that as per the OSHA report, 1984 to 2018, there were about 21 incidents. In that, about 7 people have died. And these reports are within the plants. They are not off-site emergencies. They're all on-site. They were taken care of within the plant. And just a brief from that this type of information, I don't know whether maybe that concerned departments are having, but that is not shared with the fire services at all. So fire service do not come to know. They are not really aware of these sort of things happening there, because they are hidden from outside agencies. And probably if they can contribute something or for future, that is also not done. So probably this is what I wanted to convey from this information, that there were 15% burn injuries, 15% had burn injuries in 8 incidents, and 20 employees were affected by the sarin leak in 9 incidents of this 21 incident. Not a single incident where an off-site emergency was reported in our this thing. In India, all of us have information on chemical-related incidents where off-site emergency leads to large scale. That's whatever Bhopal gas and other incidents which you're talking about, where things have gone out of our hand. There only things have come to notice, and they have been highlighted other. State of fire services never provided with actual number and type of on-site incidents managed by the industries within their own resources. And the reason for this is obviously why to involve other outside agencies, because that will be something when they come, they will carry out inspection or an audit and they'll find many faults. So it is better to keep quiet. I don't know, industry department will be able to, I mean, if somebody from there is there, they can say what is happening with them. But I, on behalf of fire service, during my about so long experience with the Delhi, we have seen that nothing is, if a small incident happened, they don't report to fire service form. Facilities with LG Polymers. Now it is assumed that LG Polymers must have been having a required technology to deal with anything which goes on inside. Not only they have to have, so they must be having an on-site emergency plan also. So what they did, what time exactly they got the information, when this leakage started, how they came to know this. Somebody smelled the gas, or it was a gas detection system which was working or not working. So these are the things probably which will further come to a conclusion whether things were being maintained properly or not. A series of failures on part of LG appears to be there, which can be apparently attributed to delay in calling fire, police, and district authorities, delay in declaring off-site emergency and informing the public in the surroundings. Now, this is on-site emergency, and it's okay. They must be having, they must be doing it because they're running the plant for many years. But off-site emergency, that is what we have been having a problem really. And here, which way it has to be dealt with, and how things have to go. That is what is important to look at. Now, general requirement of a off-site disaster plan, of course, local your authorities, they will do it. I mean, control of explosives and all that, they give permission. Environment department, so many departments are there. But there has to be a system for informing various agencies without wasting time. Normally, informing fire brigade and all that, there should be normally hotline. In Delhi, we had a system. All the high-risk agencies, they had a hotline in the fire department. I think whether it was there or not, we can't say. Informative message to all the agencies should go initially, indicating the quantum of leakage, material leakage which has leaked, and probably wind direction, etc. And so that they can be prepared what they are going to face and what is there. Any possibility of like a wind direction or other things, because normally in offsite plan we have got a identified place where people go and assemble. So whether it was decided there, whether they could reach from the same place, any change in that is to be informed, so that if the gas leakage, gas is having some direct air direction is such that gas is going to that direction which is predetermined for assembly. So then we have to take care of that. There has to be means instant communication, information to public. Now here is that whether there were loudspeaker facilities were there, whether there were information given to public earlier that you are having this type of risk around you, and if something goes wrong, what they have to do. All this is a regular process because people keep changing, new people keep coming there. So it has to be a regular sort of system of informing public, involving them in the information sharing, and if they can be given instant information, and can they hear it, all of them. So there has to be a sort of a system for that. And wind direction means, again, maybe a plant has got a large area, and you may have the population in either direction. So the leakage, once it happens, gas will be going to the particular direction. That area alone needs to be intimated in the beginning, so that they start the evacuating process and all that. And intimation about this to the fire brigade also, or police also, on the way, if they are coming, then what is that information they are having, so that they can update what is required to be done by them. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them to really take care of things. Updating the information, I mentioned everything. Hazardous industries has to have hotline communication, that I mentioned. There may be a system of direct communication to the public about this. Now, this I was trying to suggest that if you have got a gas detection system on the boundary, on all the sides, and the moment the gas reaches the boundary, and more than one or two detectors, they detect the gas, then there may be a system of automatic information to the public in that area. This may be, it may not be available as per the present norms, but I was thinking that this can probably help, so that immediate action is started, even before other things happen. So people will be intimated there is a gas leak, they can be prepared. And if they are knowing what they have to do, what they have not to do, that again will help them. Whether they should stay inside, keeping all the doors and windows closed, and switching off all the coolers and maybe other things. So that's all. Information to them has to be there. Involvement of local public panchayat, that has to be a part of this, no doubt. Glaring mistakes in the past. Now, this last slide is there. We had oleum leak in Delhi, and Bhopal gas incident happened in there. After that, Delhi had its disaster management plan, and in that 1,000 building apparatus sets were procured and distributed to various agencies like Civil Defense, Home Guard, Delhi Police, and Divisional Commissioner Office, Health Department, DTC, because all these people are supposed to be responding to that incident in case there is a problem. So these 1,000 sets, only Delhi Fire Service was maintaining and using them, but other agencies, the sets were lying there. In Civil Defense, Home Guards, we tried to find about 15 years or so. They were nicely packed and kept in a separate store. So everything got its lifetime. And maybe rubber parts, they perish after some time, you have to replace them. So, but nothing was done, and they were lying there. But some training was started for them, the people in the various departments. And it was really pathetic. I mean, it was so useless that only the people, like clerical people, the faltu people who are not really doing some work in the office, they were sent for the training. They were not the real people who were really supposed to be, taking care for or having a turnout in these at these times. So these are the mistakes which we have come across in Delhi, where we had all these facilities, a big setup. Breathing apparatus is the most important equipment required for this by every agency going there. But this was procured, distributed to everybody. Nobody knew how to use it, and no training was organized. But if training was organized in the beginning, those people must have been transferred. So that is a regular process again, which we have to probably look across. And finally, all these sets after 15, 20 years, they were sent back to fire department. They, sorry, sir, we never used, we don't know how to do it. And then fire service, they are having, issued to all the persons in that way. So this is what I wanted to convey, and that yes, it is the information system in the initially, and public involvement in this thing, and everyone, each one of us, including fire, police, civil defense, home guards, or whatever agencies or the medical authorities, they should be having the breathing apparatus, and they should, whenever they are responding to these areas, they must have all these things. They must be prepared for this. Thank you very much. I think that is enough from my side, and you can go ahead with the.
Thank you so much, sir. We have some queries. The one query is, in case of a false alarm, there can be a panic.
Yeah.
So what will be the situation? What will be the answer?
No, thing is, see, what I said is that for these type of things, normally in a place like a hotel, this is very much taken care of because there is no direct alarm passed to the public. What they do is they identify if there is alarm received from any floor in a hotel. They tell the floor boy or floor attendant to look for it. If there is a real fire, then they take further action of informing. So that is there to avoid all this false alarm activating the public like that. So here what I suggested was that you have number of leakage detectors onto the boundary, and it is not one or two. You may have a series of detectors. Once they come in operation, then only you activate the alarm. So things can be devised to do like this. In fact, in the firefighting systems also, there is automatic firefighting is there. Halon and not Halon, now just maybe NAF and other agency gases, Argonite. There also they do it. Smoke alarm and heat alarm, and both operate, then system will work. So something like that can be incorporated here, so that there is no false alarm activating all these facilities.
Okay. Sir, your video is switched off. Please switch on. We have another 2 questions. The other question is from Roy Fernandez.
Yep.
He is asking that did the facility have a means of mass notification to deliver emergency communication message both within the facility and to the external audience? Would recommend a risk analysis to be performed to design and update the emergency response plan with mass notification for the safety and prevention of the occupants.
Then say again, I was just trying to operate this. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Did the facility have a means of mass notification to deliver emergency communication message both within the facility and to the external audience?
Yeah.
Would recommend a risk analysis to be performed to design and update the emergency response plan with mass notification for the safety and prevention of the occupants.
See, we were having only communication with the Delhi Fire Service as far as this things and Delhi is concerned. In fact, subsequently, all the major accident hazard industries were shifted out of Delhi. But so long they were there, DCM Chemicals and all that, they had a direct hotline with Delhi Fire Service. So in case they intimate, we'll be just immediately responding to whatever was established at the time. So, but there is nothing as of now which is automatically doing that. Now it will depend upon the agency in there, what system they evolve, whether they intimate the relevant public in the area from their control room after they assess that things are going out of control. So this is the thing to be really looked into now. What we want, can we afford to have some false alarms, or can we cut out all the false alarms and only activate the public only when there is a real problem?
Yeah, thank you, sir. The next question is, were there gas detector for styrene gas or not in Vizag gas case?
Oh no, I'm not really sure about it. I think some of the speakers from that Vizag will be able to give this information.
Okay. The next question is, sir, one more only. Today, the technology is advanced and the signals can be communicated over 3G, 4G for mass communication alert. So that is a suggestion. I believe it's not a question, but it is a suggestion which came from Hari.
Yeah, certainly. I think this is very much possible because now this information technology available with us. I mean, we are having the COVID. I mean, people affected this virus COVID. If that is possible to have a thing like that, and anybody having that problem is known to us. So this gas leakage and informing that message, giving that message to area affected in that particular place, certainly it can be done. I think this is the maybe this becomes a one of the requirements for the future guidelines. But yeah, we were discussing whatever is available as of now. But yes, I think this is certainly a very welcome suggestion, and it should be implementable, and without any problem.
Okay. There is one more suggestion. He is from Shah Ashish, and he is saying we have this technology and we can sense the gas detection wireless and inform the control room. Styrene can be detected with PID technology in ppm level. The IDLH is 7000 ppm. This suggestion is from Vishal Kaushal. So now, thank you very much, sir. You want to
one more thing. I like to say something. When he said that, see, the systems are available with us, but problem is that we do not maintain these as it is required to be done. I'll give another example of, as DIG Fire Services, I happened to visit one of the ONGC plant, where on visiting the control room, I found that all the gas alarm detectors, they are showing red light in so many, maybe at least 10 places, but the audio system was off. When I said that why this is giving indication, they said, sir, maybe some gas leakage. I said, but what about audio? So audio was deliberately put off because there is a regular alarm gas leakage indicated by the panel. Well, this is some height of the, nonsense, I would say in that way. You are bypassing the alarm system. So if it's a real gas leak or real something like that, then you will just not be able to react. So that is what. So it is the apathy on part of the people not maintaining the system in a way. Either they should really reduce the sensitivity of the equipment, or they should act so that they need not switch off the audio system of a gas alarm detectors. Otherwise, there is no point in having the system. So this is what is more important. Having a system is all right, but maintaining is the most important. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your nice explanation for all the queries. Now we are moving to our next second, Shri Amitabh Singh. He is a General Manager, Fire Services, ONGC, Ankleshwar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mukta. Good morning to all. Well, myself, Amitabh Singh, General Manager. I am here as an individual, not representing my company. So whatever I'm saying, it's my view. My company may not agree with that. So first thing I want to make it clear. So now coming to the topic, Vizag gas leak, a reminder to think seriously. So I'm surprised here itself. After 1984, that Bhopal disaster, do we need any other alert that we should think seriously? We should think, and we must. And now, as we know, that incident has happened and many things, because I don't know what exactly went wrong, but definitely a technical inquiry will come out and find out what could be the reason and this. And many things has been there, there was no environment clearance, this clearance, that clearance. But as I understand, that company is working since 1961. So they must have some sort of clearances and permission to work. This law, environment law, etc., and they may not be there. So my question arises, suppose had there been all the environment clearance, so in such case, if the incident happened, the company can be allowed to go scot-free? No. So we should concentrate on the root cause, that why, what went wrong and what could have been done. And also, during a disaster emergency, there are many agencies have different roles. Like a leak has taken, definitely the company LG Chem is responsible for that what went wrong. Now, as we know that 100% safety cannot be assured, whatever the precaution, permission law you follow, sometimes mistakes bound to happen and incident will take. Then as the last control hierarchy, we come to our ultimate thing, the mitigation, that is the emergency response and control. So my query, I think somewhere we are missing the most important thing. In this incident, we have lost 12 lives and 500+ persons were hospitalized. So my question is that no one is asking introspecting whether that loss of life and such a large scale hospital could have been averted. That whether the local emergency responders were prepared for that. As we understand, that leak has taken place around 3:30 a.m. and the rescue or evacuation has started only after around 5:30. Now, once a toxic gas release, which affect your respiratory system, give a time to survive hardly 2 to 3 minutes. You don't have a time to survive. So definitely in such a situation like a methyl isocyanide leak in the Bhopal, what happened? Because those who have inhaled it got instantly killed. So your response has failed. So here we need some extraordinary type of response is required. We have NDRF, we have SDRF. Those forces are there, but I think those forces are more trained to handle the natural disaster, where we got advanced warning 48 72 hours before. We got a warning, some cyclone is coming, flood is coming, heavy rain with this and that, and we are prepared for that. But an industrial disaster is just happen. It will happen suddenly without any warning and without anything. So we need a sort of preparedness, our fire services, to handle to that. Then my next thing will come, whether our local fire brigade, local emergencies were aware what is happening in the LG camp, whether that company is handling that toxic gas. If that leaks, can affect the community in large? I think no. As whatever the visual I have seen, videos, either police personnel or fire personnel, hardly I find anyone with the BS set. I think mask people are wearing, maybe because of the corona effect, people are putting on the mask. Otherwise, mostly people are rushing and like just that. Even if a evacuation of such a large scale, what was the logistic? You can't just simply ask the people to run, because while running, you will consume more oxygen, more air, and you will be liable to get more. In which direction you have to run? So there are 2-3 failures which I find. One is that as we say, the offsite disaster is the responsibility of the state. So there was, I think, no offsite disaster management plan, and local over the emergency responder, police were not aware of what actually is happening inside that plant. They simply know that they are making some plastic product which is used for the household, but actually what they are using, if that happens, if that leaks out, nowhere till before this accident we were aware. So my instead being I am also a firefighting community, that whatever the technical thing they are doing, let them do. As a firefighter, I should know if something goes wrong, what I am supposed to do. I cannot simply blame that company You are not taken the environment clearance, you are technical, you are poorly maintained, this and that. No, I know that whatever we done, something may go wrong and this type of incident may happen. And then I should be ready for that. But I think most of the state fire services all over the India are not ready to handle such type of an industrial disaster. And most of the people out of reach, and normally the first responder is police. The police personnel just go in their own vehicle, then they see, then they call fire brigade. It may be coming from some far off places and then responding. With whatever, normally a water tender or foam tender, they come. Hardly 1 or 2 BSFs are available in any fire tender, if it is available. And most of the municipal or small places, it may not be available. So if such a scale happens, then how you can handle such a situation? So definitely, somewhere we are not prepared to handle such situation or such accident. So there is a need to introspect our emergency response system and preparedness. And the training of our personnel was supposed to handle this emergency. Now I still see like the major responsibility of the fire brigade officer, 11 sub officer, divisional, some sort of course has done. Still, their course is tailor-made, PT, parade, pump drill, ladder drill, all such out. It is concentrated, focusing on that only, but not actually the challenges of the 2 days, the type of preparation they are required, the smartness you need to handle. I don't think such things are made in their curriculum or their courses, which I think is established sometime 50 or 60. The same syllabus, same curriculum is being continued for the training part. And same is to the firemen who get recruited. We just teach him PT, parade, ladder drill, hose drill, pump drill, this, that. Just fatigue. Definitely also, ultimately on the front, this is firemen and the sub officer are going to are the first responder. So unless they are smart enough to learn and act, I think whatever precautions, because your district collector, police, SP, etc., educated person, they must be coming later on. First person is the grassroots worker, the fireman or the constable will be there. So we have no plan to train them, or he should be aware for that. So there is a need to look for such things so that our emergency response should improve, because accidents will happen and will continue to happen, because 100% safety can never be ensured. So we have to see ultimately as a loss control hierarchy, the last effect is like if you follow a loss control hierarchy, first is the elimination of the hazard, or it is the substitution, or then by design control, engineering control, administrative control, PP, ultimately it is the mitigation, then rescue and relief. So fire services and other states are there for emergency rescue and relief measures. So here somewhere something has been missing. And then another question, I think Dr. Mukta in his last said that people area is densely populated and lot of population is there. So my question is, this industry was set up in 1961. So which came first? Industry came first, then the population came. So there is something somewhere around town and country planning. I know that there is 100% available. Then why we are allowing that population to like Shakur Basti when LPG bottling plants were there? Then now all the population of the plant are shifted. If you see same situation exists in Mumbai, HPCL or your BPCL refinery. Now there's such a crowded refinery. If something goes on, I think thousands of people will be affected. So somewhere something wrong with our town and country planning part also. So as a responsive point, I think the town and country planning, training to our fire personnel.
I think his voice is not clear and somewhere he is offline. Let's wait for 2 minutes. Let's wait for 2 minutes. If he will be back, otherwise we will move to next.
No, I'm back. I think there was some disconnection. I'm audible, madam?
Yeah, now you are audible.
Now audible. So just the closing, my remark will only be that we may blame the company, this and that clearance, but at the same time as a state, as part of disaster management, especially in case of industrial disaster, the local police and local fire services has to be extra smart to handle such things, because for handling those things, we cannot depend upon the NDR.
Not clear, sir. Not audible. Hello. His voice is not clear. I think he is now offline. So we move to our next expert, C.K. Jairam Nayak. He is a director, Disaster Response Fire Service, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. So let's listen his views.
Good afternoon to participants and then speakers. The Vizag gas leak, which was happening. Which was gas leak on 7th May. It is very sorrowful for the after thinking over the 1984 Bhopal gas. It's a very tragic issue happened in Andhra Pradesh. As Madam has already told about the history of the factory. Factory is LG Polymers. It is known as Hindustan Polymers 1961 onwards, and thereafter 1917 it was taken over by this McDonald company, and then 97 onwards LG Polymers is the LG Chem. As at LG Chem, it is naming as the South Korean company has taken over this product company and operating in Vizag, and then producing about this major high impact polystyrene and expandable polystyrene, and then what are the products is about transparent glass and audio visual items and all this automobile and washing machine and TV peripherals and all these things are producing in the plant. As presently happened on early hours of 13:30 hours in the early morning on 7th, early hours and morning on 7th. Actually, we responded very because it is the 13 kilometers away from the city. We responded as soon as we received the call. But our Sarma sir has said because of some delay, the delay is not there. But actually 3:51 we reached to the spot, and then there is some problem about what is the gas leak means. Preparedness is such a level of very poor preparedness at the time. What is happened? The information is not clear. That is why response is there, but there is a PPE and all things are not available to get that evacuation of the people and all that. These are the already the sequence has been happened by the response forces by the 3:51 by the fire service, and 6 o'clock NDRF people and another police has joined. Actually, after 2 hours, 2.5 hours, the evacuation has been done by the 550 people. Around that, 123 fire vehicles has been responded to the call, and then 120 fire staff has been participated in this one. Next. As the plant process is going on, about there are three main component raw materials about the stearin gas. Stearin gas goes by this process is the polymerization. The polymerization is the actually tendency of the self reaction with the forming of the larger size of molecules in this polymerization. High impact polystyrene, it is the HIPS for it as it will present in presence of polybutylene rubber, and then it is some pellets will be prepared in the solid granule type. And expandable polyester, it is in the suspension of the water. It will form about the beads and then formed and separated by this severe and then in different sizes. The first responder as the fire service as a first responder, we responded about the 3:51, 3 o'clock early hours of 3:51 hours. We responded and rescued and evacuated about 100 people by the fire service and other agencies and the local with help of local people, and then 550 people have been evacuated from that vicinity to save their lives, and they are put in the hospital and shifted to hospital. As we note that after Bhopal gas, I was also worked in Bhopal as a bank officer. The very pathetic issue about this after 1984, 1911, 1914, 1981. As Sarma sir said about there are after 91 to till the date, there are 21 incidents have been happened. Still, we have been poor in learning about all these gaps or the glaring mistakes. And then other happened in the when I was an officer in Vizag in 1997. There is a HPCL refinery explosion occurred. At the time, also 25 persons have been injured, and then CSF persons also got injuries, and then deaths also occurred at the time. Now, in this incident, total deaths has been reported about 10 at the time, and then later stage 2 more deaths, and hospitalized about 530 people. Then compensation as given as 1 crore rupees for the dead persons, and then 10 lakh rupees given to the who are on ventilators, and 530 rupees for the 1 lakh per person. This is the compensation declared by the government. There are various agencies probing into this issue now. The High Court is to Sumoto. High Court of Andhra Pradesh has taken this as a Sumoto issue. What is the incident cause? And then National Green Tribunal also is the Pollution Control Board taken into the initiative to deposit some amount with by the LG Polymers to the government in the collectorate of Visakhapatnam. And then LG Polymers moves to the Supreme Court also for the further operation of that. Still, it is under consideration, and High Power Committee has been constituted to probe into the issue. Next. It is a plant. Actually, there are 3 sterile tanks available in the plant, and then in and around. And this is the layout of the plant of that in the sterile the LG Polymers camp. The sterile gas leak is one of the raw material gas leak, because normally the stored items of this sterile are the 20 degrees centigrade, but because of the lockdown issues of the more 60 days, more over 58 days and more, there is a heat temperature, and then the cooling process has been delayed, and then it has been taken temperature about 150 degrees. Then a vent has opened up, and then gas leak happened on the time. Yes, this is the polymerization process is involved. Let's skip. The information about sarin gas is it is a volatile, and then flash point is about 31 degrees, and then it is classified as a flammable or toxic subject. And the sarin polymerization is contaminated with any oxidizing agents and halides, and the polymerization reaction is exothermic. Because of that reason, it has been explosion, and the vent explosion has been happened, and gas leak has spread to the 2 kilometer radius about vicinity. And what is the PPE levels? PPE levels, ppm levels, as the health hazard by PPE levels is the 50 is the normal rate of this thing. After that, 375 goes irritation, and then 600 goes the further irritation improvements, and then 800 drowsiness will occur, and then 800 beyond, it causes death to the personnel, and then because of that reason, some of the deaths has been happened in that incident. As in the prevention of polymerization is the process of self-reacting into that within the chemical and becoming the molecules in the larger molecules, and the sarin gas newly is at ambient temperature. It will be maintained, and wherever the temperature or reactor or polliter, it will use the oxidizing this thing. Any contact comes to the external agent, it will heat or something. It will have a somehow explosion type of venting process, and the runaway process in the polymerization also gives a high risk over this. What the path has been happened like this, there is a process evaluate and then loop process, and then alarm has to come up, and perhaps here the alarm has not come up and to awaken the people at the time of alarm is the siren is not silent over the how it has happened at the time, and then and wherever the incident beyond their control, it will goes to the atmosphere, and atmosphere is the plant response team and passive system and active system on. After that, beyond control, it will goes to the explosion, and community emergency system will start. The learnings. Learnings of the industry risk assessment is a very top priority, goes for the identification of the risk, and whatever the identification of risk is there, accordingly the data sheet, the MS data sheet, and preventive measures or firefighting measures and preventive first aid and public response system, it has to be improved, and community development and public has to be taken up. There are so many reactive hazards in the polymerization. Here in the serine, particularly this LG polymers, is the polymerization process. The hazard is happened. It has a tendency to react itself and then making a molecule. So this is a process of, this is one of the process of serine process. Next. This is about tank design. The vent up has been increased about 800. 800 means a very ppm level goes about the 830 degrees. Wherever temperature rise up to the 150 degrees, and then ppm levels also goes by beyond risk area. And then important regulations concerned to the any chemical incident and disasters happen. The chemical accidents emergency preparedness response system rule 1996. Because of these rules, we can have to have there are about national emergency, and then crisis groups have to be followed by the state level, district level, and then local level crisis groups, and then various agencies involving about this plan. And then second plan goes to the manufacture, storage, and import of hazardous chemical 1989. On this plan, very important is the rule 13 goes for the on-site emergency planning. Within the on-site emergency planning, what are the resources available, what are the firefighting arrangement, whatever the things has to be maintained in good maintainable conditions have to be followed. And then the rule 19 says, rule 15 says about the on-site, off-site emergency plan. Off-site emergency plan says about the rule 15 of the MS. Off-site emergency preparation of off-site emergency, the line agencies of the state governments has to be prepared outside the plant area, and then the preparedness will comes as good as there is no proper preparedness, proper know-how, technical know-how, proper identification, hazard assessments, and then mock drills and awareness to the public and alarm or any has to be happened whenever frequently or periodically. I saw, and then there are several incidents. I worked in Vizag in 1996. At the time onward, there are exercises coming and then practicing about these mock exercises, but it may not effective as such. Wherever such pharma industries and chemical industries, they are not happening. All the way they are happening is this mock exercises in the SPCL and then BPCL and then bottling plant where the plants are available. Because the pharma industries, perhaps why it has been not happened, any exercise has been not taken up so far for the last 20 years. And then material safety data sheet of the sarin gas is 2055, and then there are so many issues about the public safety, and then what are the firefighter safety, and then what is the material characteristics that happened. And then now the legal cases has been in the tribunal, National Green Tribunal, issued a notice to our Pollution Control Board, and the AP state government has taken this motto to inquire into the probe of this incident. And high-level inquiries has been ordered by the state government by the different agencies. And then there is a question also. There are 8 agencies are inquiring at a time, and then High Court is different, and then NGT is different. But other agencies have been clubbed together. Now the case is only attached to the factories department, and then ECB, and then other pollution control board, and other land departments, and fire service also integral part of this inquiry. And then we are attending some inquiries in this case, whatever our role, and then we are explaining about the role of the role in this regulations. What I mean to say, next, this is the on-site emergency plan. On-site emergency plan means emergency means has been definition goes by the incident or the thing causes most of the injuries or life and excessive damage to the property, and then serious destruction of the activity of the production, whatever the company goes on the production, and then adverse impact around the surrounding company as well as the environment. That is called as emergency. On-site emergency plan, it is within the industry, they have to avail within the available resources and manage the whatever the risk happened on the on-site in the factory premises itself. Next. Actually, this is the one of the data sheet of Australian Gas of guide is emergency response guide of 2006-128, and then year number is 2500. There are some health hazards also happens in this one. Next. Public safety issues, and then protective clothing. I want to say about protective clothing. Fire services are not fully equipped with the required PPEs. Required PPEs to all the personnel, and then personnel, then air purifiers, and then gas purifiers, gas detection equipment. There is a logistic lacuna is there by the fire service personnel, and then other protective equipment by the factory which is available, where they are also very limited equipments are available in the factory. I want to sum up. I want to sum up my summary. Yeah. I want to sum up my speech is that the standard operating procedure and guidelines has been issued by the NDMA in 2006. 2006 for the chemical industries, and then the implementation part is very poor in all over all the states. Because of the implementation part, and awareness has to be inculcated to effective manner, and periodical inspections of the chemical and tank area, their inspection to be regularly recorded in the factory, and then siren has to be checked, because here in the LG Polymer the siren has not given alarm because of this non-absence of alarm, and so many people have been affected. And then on-site emergencies mock drills has to be periodically done, and then it has to be kept for the all line agencies to be involved in this process, and then awareness to be created for the nearby public. Fire service must have to have a fully equipped PPEs and BS8s and gas detection equipment and contamination equipment. This is very good. This is a lacuna for the fire service people. And then toxic chemicals should not be in habitation areas. They should have away from that. Whenever the factory startups, it will start up within the remote area, but afterward the people, urbanization will come, or who are the workers will start living in this vicinity of the 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. This normally happens in the factory area. And then safety audits. The safety audits has to be carried out regularly, and then SOPs, whatever the SOPs to be done, it is very, very key factors to be done on the what is the using of the danger tags, and then instructions of wherever the workplace is, and responsibility of the shift officer, and then chemical plant and locking out of all these equipments, and then use of colors for the tags and identification, and then danger marks has to be identified in the SOPs. Whenever keep in mind, SOP has to form by the particular companies. My last question, and then last question and means how now the inquiry is going on in between the who is where is fault, and by the management fault or the fire service fault, or otherwise the public pollution control board or the factories department. There are 4 line departments are lying, and then the investigation is going on. It will identify whatever may be the, because perhaps we are very lucky to announce it and then say that the fire is not there, only gas leak has been happened, the emergency has been started. Here question is, who is responsible for the gas leakages attendance? That is now question. Thank you very much for this presentation. Any questions or something you can pose by all the speakers or participants. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We have one question that did the authority find the exact cause of the gas leak, a pipe burst or what?
Ma'am, not clear, ma'am. Question is
okay. I'll repeat. Did the authorities find the exact cause of the gas leak, a pipe burst, or what?
That is a now question, ma'am. Actually, who is responsible for this incident? That the SOP can be adopted, and the SOP, there is a role play, and then responsibility goes by the agency, which are the line agencies. This is the question now.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Can
So
I ask
now,
some
Mr.
question?
Ashok,
Can I ask directly to Mr. Nair?
of course.
Yes, Mr. Nair, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My small question, short question: did the local authority or the fire service
Yeah.
was shared with the offsite emergency plan?
Sir, offsite emergency plan is being every time it is being reviewed by the district authority, by the DDMA. But on that one, they are not actually all the way. They will go for the only petroleum product facilities, not by the chemical product facilities.
So can I say that no offsite emergency plan for this particular industry was available?
Offsite emergency plan is not. Sir, 20 years been happened, sir. 20 or 30 years is happened. There is no pharma industry's plan has been not very strengthened, sir. Actually, still not strengthened.
Mr. Naik, does it come under pharma or chemical industry?
Yeah, sir.
Does it come under pharma industry?
This is about chemical industry, sir.
Chemical. So chemical industry should have, if it is handling hazardous material, should have an offsite emergency plan, whatever rule you may see, either state or center.
As a state officer, sir. Yeah.
I will give you one idea. Say basically, the on-site emergency plan is prepared by the respective industry.
Yes, sir.
In that connection, district authority has to prepare an off-site emergency plan,
Yes, sir.
and regularly every year they should conduct a mock drill. That is a mandate specified in the law also. So many of the industrial belts, they perform this type of activity. However, the standalone or an isolated organization do not have very specific offsite emergency plan. Neither it is required by the law, and yeah, definitely the authority can ask them to prepare specially. That is a prerogative of the authority, not the law.
Sir,
As per my understanding.
Sir, as per rule of manufacture, storage, and import of chemical industries, Rule 14 says the offsite emergency planning is emphasized. It is emphasized that they are not practicing, sir. That is a problem. Mock drill says that should be every time they will go for HPCL or the BPCL area, not by any chemical industries area. This is the problem is coming up in the last 20 years.
Thank you, Mr. Nair. Thank you very much.
We have one more question. Any proactive instructions already given by AP Fire Service to the industry?
Sir, we are given a permission in the 2013. 2013, we are given a permission. Expansion in the 2018.
Okay.
That is also given a permission not accordance with the whatever the accordance with the our act says about only NBC.
Okay. So the next question is, what was the role played by CISF fire team in this incident?
CSF is not available, ma'am, and we are the one of the SDRF part by the fire service, and another part is by the battalions. Battalions means police people, and then another part of they come together by the fire service, and then battalions, APSP battalions of the police or the SDRF forces now.
Okay.
And then NDRF, however, they came in the 6 o'clock. They're late, as they have only one command. Otherwise, they have to come all the way from the distant places.
I read somewhere that after about this incidents, first police have been informed, and after a long gap, fire officers have to be informed. So, is that correct?
The question is not clear. Repeat, please.
My question is about this incidents. First, police officers have been informed, and after that, after a long time, fire officers have been informed. Or you can say the fire department. Is that correct?
They made a call to 100, ma'am. Always, sometimes the call goes to the 100 number for the police, and the police will divert the call to the 101. And then the police has been in the patrolling size. They went up to the very vicinity. After that, they given a call, and we went there.
Okay. So one more question, very shortly, that it has been asked by Madhu B. Is there any coordination between industry and statutory bodies on safety and off-site emergency?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, it is there. With the very coordination is there always, but This is the oldest company. No one goes for any periodical inspections. Inspection will happen by the fire service only yearly once. Yearly once we go for the renewal of NOC type.
Okay.
Only annually.
Okay, but people are commenting that on ground and practically there is no coordination between the industry and statutory bodies. That is a comment from the audience. So thank you so much, sir, for your comments.
Maybe this question coordination comes with the factories department or the pollution control department, but the fire service is concerned, we are inspecting and then giving the clearances as of firefighting installation part only.
Okay, okay. So you said that, okay. So now, thank you so much, sir. We'll go to the next expert opinion, and that is Mr. C. Lakshmi Prasad. Oh, sorry. Before that, Mr. Amitabh Singh is again online and he wanted to conclude his talk. So over to you, Mr. Amitabh Singh.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry that my connection has gone. In the last, I will just, because for the last 1 year, I have analyzed very accidents. So I come to one philosophical change in our attitude. As we know in our training, from bottom to top, we taught that every fire or incident is a small incident in the beginning. If you act smartly, you can control it. But I think there's a time now to change this philosophy that any incident can be a major incident in the beginning if initial warning and the symptoms are ignored. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for you, there is a question. Isn't the high time India should have authorities such like OSHA? I think it's a suggestion. It's not a question. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Now move to the next expert. Mr. C. Lakshmi Prasad. He is Additional Director, State Disaster Response Force, Telangana, Hyderabad. Are you there? Yeah.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me, madam?
Yes, but your video is not on.
Start video. Yeah. Now are you able to see the video, madam?
Yes.
Okay, madam. Yeah. Good afternoon to all the experts and my dear friends of fire service community. Today, I'm happy to share my views with you on this gas leakage that happened in Vizag. Some 12 people died and about 3,000 people were exposed. Are you able to hear me, madam? Hello?
Yes, but there is little disturbance.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, fortunately, today I could see this Green Tribunal report, madam, which has inquired into this incident. Hello?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. If you are unable to hear me, madam, you please.
No, you are clear, loud and clear. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So this incident, after this incident happened, this National Green Tribunal has taken up a suo motu inquiry, and they released their report today in the press. As per this, the major lapses were, and the lapses they have underlined is, as all of you know, styrene gas has a flash point of 31 degrees, and it should be stored at less than 15 or 18 degrees Celsius to ensure that it does not polymerize. As temperature increases, the rate of polymerization increases. It is an exothermic reaction, so leading to increase in the release of the heat. So unless this is contained by slowing down or arresting of polymerization, the process can go out of control, leading to temperature control. The industry has to use inhibitor chemicals like tertiary butyl catechol. It is yes, I'm trying to. So to inhibit the reactions, the keep styrene under control. Inhibitor chemicals like tertiary butyl catechol need to be added even as temperature of stored styrene is maintained below 25 degrees centigrade. Because it loses its inhibiting properties at higher temperature. Series of safety lapses and technological shortcomings led to a condition where the TBC concentrations were insufficient to inhibit polymerization. Inadequate cooling and heat building up due to COVID-19 lockdown due to gradual polymerization led to runaway reaction. This runaway reaction is found to be the main cause for this gas leakage, because the polymerization continued with increased rate. The increased temperature and pressures or disaster levels causing the sterile gas to escape through safety valves located at the top of the tank. The committee has given noted that a disaster would have been far worse had the safety valve failed. Fortunately, in this incident, the safety valve did not fail. And the committee has observed the following important points. The M6 tank in which the sterile gas is stored in this industry was of old design. It is 1961 design. It is having a height of 12 meters and has no meter for measuring temperature and pressure at the top of the tank to monitor increase of the same. So the tank had only one temperature measure at the bottom of the tank. This the temperature increase to be monitored at the top of the tank. The tank refrigeration unit, when the temperature increase is detected. This is also very, very serious lapse. If this is in place, it would have forced the system to increase chilling and cooling action to retard the reaction upon detection of. And another important thing is no arrangement of extra some sprinklers, but that was not sufficient. They don't have any remotely operated monitor. If this was there, the tank would have been cooled by the remotely operated monitor. The things would have been very much under control. So this this hampered mitigation efforts to disperse the gas clouds. Then public system could not activate. It was manual system located in an area rendered inaccessible by vapor. Alarm was there in place. It is a manual thing, and it is located near the tank where it is like a vapor cloud is formed, and people cannot go near. Industry people, LG Polymer staff cannot go to the alarm and activate it. This is the major cause I feel for the loss of time. Then chillers serving M6 tanks were turned off at 5 p.m. On 7th on the earlier day, as per routine site practice, as ambient night temperature required little or no chilling. Next important thing is, as vapor loss was not anticipated, there was no provision for an automated sprinkler filter called a tertiary butyl catechol or TBC was not added to the tank after April 1st. This is very, very serious thing. Though the sterile liquid was there in the tank, this inhibitor to inhibit the polymerization was not added after April 1st due to COVID lockdown. Without this TBC, sterilize faster in the water media and eventually build up into a runaway reaction. This is what happened exactly in the site. This spill was massive after 24 hours also. There were the 374 particles per million. So as our friend, colleague, Mr. Nag has said, it is dangerous beyond 376 ppm. So because it seems even after 24 hours, the concentration was 374 ppm. As per US Environmental Protection Agency, exposure level beyond 340 ppm over 4 to 8 hours can prove lethal, because this is having a carcinogenic effect also. This sterile over a long time, if it is exposed, people are exposed for a longer period, then this will lead to even different types of cancers also. And finally, this was the report given by the Green Tribunal of this Green Tribunal, which was National Green Tribunal (NGT). This is the expert report given by them on this incident. What lessons to be learned from this incident is the process safety is most important in such chemical industries, which has totally failed here, because in containing the temperature or adding the TBC or cooling the tank or giving the alarm. Then another important thing is the alarm for public evacuation failure. And the failure to conduct on-site and off-site emergency exercise. I don't know whether off-site emergency exercises were ever conducted in the recent past. Then another important thing is, as our friends have told earlier, the fire service department training mode has to be changed, and the officers and firefighters should be given exposure, good expert training in a hazardous material incident. This is not happening because they need to know what are the different types of hazards that can happen due to this hazmat incidents, and what is the PPE required, and the do's and don'ts, and standard operating procedures. And the PPE of the fire service and other responding agencies, like to address such emergencies. Then another important thing, mostly that failed here, is the public awareness. The people who are living nearby the such industries should know the hazards that are there in that industry and the do's and don'ts if they get an alarm. Because this awareness is utterly lacking, it seems. And the report also, Green Tribunal also has found fault with the various agencies like factories department and boilers department, which failed to ensure the process safety by periodical inspections. Then another important thing is, though fire department did its best by responding immediately after receiving the call at 3:30,
Your voice is breaking.
within 23 though 23 fire vehicles have been deployed, and a lot of fire investigation and the other agencies have taken over the fire service, and no credit is given to fire service at all in this incident, as we could watch from the media. So there need to be, we have to get into a system of public relation officer should be there in fire service department at every place, so that they can disseminate the correct information about the response by the fire department. And the visibility of the fire department.
Sir, please conclude. Your voice is breaking. Please conclude.
You can give containing. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the important things, and think of it a way. Hello.
Please conclude.
Yes, madam. So with all this, I can say that we have to have innovative practices for ensuring the safety of such hazardous industries, and public awareness has to be increased, and the responding agencies should have proper protective equipment and gear. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. Now we have questions.
I
The
have got a
first
question.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
Mr. Lakshmi Prasad, how many BS sets we had in this particular incident used? How many were available and how many we used in this particular incident? Any idea?
Sir, actually, Mr. Jairam Naik will be able to, because I am at Telangana, sir. Mr. Naik
Okay,
is
right.
at
Okay. We'll have it from him. Thank you.
Andhra. So,
Yeah.
probably each.
You're not audible, Mr. Nayak. Can you repeat, please?
Sir, 23 vehicles have been turned out, sir, with 120 people of fire force. But what is the happening thing is there is no proper PPEs to reach this very vicinity.
Oh, no,
The
I'm talking
plant.
about breathing apparatus sets. How many were there?
The
with us?
operations we have about 68 numbers, sir.
Okay. Any system of having spare cylinders also?
Spare cylinders also available, sir. But
Understood.
only thing is the air purifiers are not there, and then the gas detection equipment is electronized there.
Yes. Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Sir,
very
there is a question from Dr.
Mr. Naik, did you, this is again Rakesh Sharma, do you have those hazmat plans or no?
Pardon, sir?
Do you have a hazmat man?
Hazmat van we don't have, sir. We are given to the Telangana, sir. Not with us. There is no hazmat van, sir.
Okay. But all right.
Madam, just
Thank you.
One important point comes to my mind after
Yes.
Mr. Lakshmi, that the discharge of the safety valve, as per the statutory practice, any discharge from the safety valve is to be connected to the flare. The same thing happened in the Bhopal. The discharge from the tank was not connected to the flare. The same thing linked, and we have not learned. So root cause, you can say here, is the discharge from the safety valve as a design failure because it is not connected to the flare. So if it is not connected to the flare, definitely it will go somewhere and it will hurt someone. So that I think is the root cause for the accident and failure of the design. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, I have a question. As the speaker just said, it was because of the COVID-19 lockdown reason. And on 1st of April, the mandatory actions taken for cooling down process was not done. What does it mean exactly? I couldn't understand. Does it mean the complete factory was closed without taking into consideration the laid down procedure for cooling down such plants?
Your question goes to?
Sir, actually, it has to be answered by. I gave you the report of the National Green Tribunal.
No, what I'm basically interested, we are finding the root cause why this thing has happened. Forget about other things which other speakers have already covered, and that is regularly we have been doing it. And the failures are there, audits are not done, procedures are not followed. We just go and get the inspection per year. What we inspect, we also know, and what they get us to do. Anyway, I'm not criticizing all those things. Very important fact is, if it was a lockdown and a forced lockdown, of course, everyone had to do it. Many people have lost many things. But this critical sort of processes where life hazards were involved, were the plant unaware, or they knew about it, that if we all of a sudden shut down the plant without taking the mandatory actions, this sort of things would happen? That is my question.
Sir, actually, the lapse is that the plant is supposed to do that, but it did not do that. That is the lapse. That is what the National Green Tribunal is pointing out.
Right. That means what lesson do we learn? What is the lesson we are learning from this? Same thing was in Bhopal, gas plant tragedy also. And what is the outcome? How do we go about? If a national lockdown once again comes down like this, what about the critical plants, which does have life hazard in case of its failure? Isn't it very important point which should be pondered upon by all of us, and especially the engineers, safety engineers who are designing the plants? Why leave it only onto the firefighting? Firefighting is a secondary issue. It is something, incident takes place, we come there and rescue you all. Fire service personnel, they rescue from every situation. You can name it and the fire service is there.
Yeah,
that is what my basic condition is.
You're right, Mr. Chatterjee. In fact, even after that, we had a court order saying that their factory should be sealed and they should not be allowed to take out or this and that. I mean, that again, I mean, if certain things can go, reaction can overshoot or cooling system may not work, I mean, somebody has to be there to take care of these things. So the order of sealing, even if it is there from the court, that must be for removal of the things and shifting the other thing. But for the safety measures, I think that whatever minimum is required has to be done. I mean, otherwise, something like that which has happened can happen again if the factory is sealed that way. So I believe your concern is quite appreciated. I mean, that's very much right. There's no second opinion about it.
Come in, Mr. Chatterjee. Chatterjee sir, such plant, I am sure you are aware, cannot be switch on the line and light and switching off the light. See, these are critical plants. Do you mean to say in a lockdown, all your oil refineries, petrochemicals, atomic energy plants, high water plants were just switched off?
No. Please. Let me complete. I didn't mean that. I am saying since the speaker just...
Let me complete.
See, what I meant... Yeah, please carry on.
You see, what happens in critical plants like this, there has to be a safe, if the lockdown situations like this arises again, or it was there, these plants, if needs to be shut down, if they are not essential, these has to be shut down in a safe mode. There is a process known as safe mode. Either everything has to be sent to the flare and shut down, Amitabh, I hope you are listening, and or it is to be sent to a scrubber to neutralize the material in the pipeline or in the process, and then take a shutdown.
Absolutely.
Before that, you cannot do this. It is not possible to shut down these plants like this, that you just switch it off and switch it on.
I agree.
It's a long-run process, take about 3 to 4 hours. If flare is available, it can be shut down in about 4 hours or so. Otherwise, a scrubber is available, then it may take a little more time. That's my submission, nothing beyond it. Thank you.
I agree with you. Only thing is because it was linked that because of the COVID-19 lockdown, this was linked up. So maybe the labels didn't come up, maybe the technicians didn't turn up, maybe so many things has happened.
No, sir, but I can...
I do not know. That is what I just wanted to confirm.
I can just add and say all refineries and all are working, but as for this plant, I have just going through the report that certain minimum persons were allowed for routine checkup and maintenance and observations were there. But their failure is that after shutdown, they miss a startup plan. They don't have a proper and something went wrong. That's happened. But as per there are certain minimum persons were allowed by the state government just to monitor. So it was not left alone, just locked.
So let's move on again. We'll move on to the next question, which has been asked by the Dr. Yogeshwara. He was asking why layer of protection failed. When all failed, then only disaster takes place. Nothing worked. Why? Can answer by any one of experts.
This is a fundamental truth, madam. Because
sir, your voice.
Safety layer disaster will happen. Well, you can listen like. If you listen in Bhopal, the 7 layer of safety fails. After that, the incident has taken place. Here also, if you monitor your detection fail, your cooling system fail, your refrigeration fail, and so many things fail, and your design failure since your flare, your discharge of safety valve is not connected to the flare. So there is a series of failure that led to the ultimate disaster. So it is a fundamental truth. Disaster will only take place once you ignore the various symptoms and warning. This will take place. This is bound to happen. This will happen again and again.
Okay. So I think he must be satisfied with your answer. Now move to the next.
Ma'am, yeah, I would like to add one more thing. safety, the layer of safety when we talk of, it talks of instrumentation also. Now it is said that there is only one temperature gauge on the bottom of the tank. So the monitoring of temperature itself was not sufficient and it did not trip. Even the temperature rise, the system did not trip and it continued to rise the pressure. So going into details, there are layer of safety, but it failed everywhere and it finally led to a disaster. Thank you.
Yeah. So the next question is, whether it is from Aditya Kumar, whether any periodic review meeting held on off-site emergency among the concerned authorities are, that is local emergency responder, industrial representative, etc. Sir, I think this question goes to Mr. Nayak. Is there?
Repeat the question. Repeat the question, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Whether any periodic review meeting held on off-site emergency among the concerned authorities, that is local emergency responders, industrial representative, etc.
Ma'am, every time, annually, the DDMA, District Disaster Management Authority, that is by collector, has to review all these major hazardous installation or vital installations to about the safety of the reviews, ma'am. It will happen only on annually basis.
Okay. So there is one request that they are asking the NGT report for these incidents, and please, if possible, you share on this IFE email ID. Then the next question is, petroleum sector industry, it is mandatory that all plant personnel undergo site-specific fire safety training. Similarly, it should be mandatory for all petrochemical industries also. Training has to be experimental, learning on physical life before safety simulators. So why it has been not happened?
Here there is a fire safety on-site emergency. There is a part of on-site emergency. They have a fire vehicles by the plant itself, but they are not fully equipped. There is a mutual aid system by the in Vizag. There is a mutual aid system by the all public sector industries and all pharmaceutical industries or petroleum company industries. There is a mutual aid system to cooperate each other. In case of any factory goes on incident, the other unit will come and then assist for this assistance.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm Sunil Kumar. Hello.
Please speak.
Ma'am, I would like to add one more thing. That you see, in petroleum and petrochemical industry, there is the emergency response and disaster management plan is approved by PNGRB board. That's a regulatory body, and that they assess the ERDMPA of that particular premises and approve it. And every 3 years or 5 years, for refinery it's 3 years, but for other it is 5 years. They approve it, and the training is a part of that, and including on-site, off-site, everything one has to comply. Otherwise, they will not get the ERDMPA certified. So there is a statutory norm and a statutory guidelines which controls in petroleum and petrochemical section. So they are very disparate that they cannot afford to miss any of the statutory guidelines. Otherwise, the approval will be hold. And in fact, that approval is applied to the board, that is PNGRB board, through the board of directors of that company. So it's a very high level decision. So petroleum industry and petrochemical cannot afford to violate that. But of course, this PNGRB is not applicable on on-site industry. Like in ONGC, it is not applicable because they are controlled under the separate regulation. Thank you.
So, sir, it is applicable. Well, just add from ONGC that like all industry operation, we have 3 bodies to monitor safety. One is Oil Industry Safety Directorate, one is Director General of Mine Safety, and the PESO, Petroleum Explosive Safety Organization. So there are 3 bodies whose job only to look after the safety. But I don't think there are similar bodies for the chemical or other industries there who are only hampering on the safety, and it is left to the factory inspector on job only, and he is too much occupied with all these things, and he is not maybe professionally competent to look after the safety of all type of industry. That is my submission.
Yes, I agree with you, because you see, under the MSIHC rules, also it requires safety audit of the installation, and the agency which are carried out, it is approved by the chief inspector of factories of particular state. But if you inspect even the oil industry also, I have seen people are not serious on that particular external audit being carried out by a factory inspected approved body. But they are already covered under OISD, so they have to follow the OISD now. So the same is not applicable to other chemical industry, which should be. Thank you.
Not audible, ma'am. Mukhtar, nothing is audible.
Can I speak, please?
Yeah.
Madam, can I speak?
Yeah, sure. Sir, actually now time is over and we have committed till 12:30.
Okay, can I speak one last with your
Sure.
request?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm Yogeshwar. You see, the learning point out of all these disasters, we have not learned the basic learning point from my point of view. Everybody puts the blame with respect to on-site emergency plan, off-site emergency plan, pollution control board, factory rate. They are all guidelines, in my opinion. The basic is that the mock exercise, as per the on-site emergency plan, they should identify what the weakness in our. If this kind of thing happening, that mock exercise should have been conducted. That is LOPA. LOPA means every point it may go wrong in my industry. What is my preparation for that? This is failure. What is my preparation? Failure. What is my preparation? This is failure. What is my preparation? How to tackle it? How to tackle it? Then this on-site emergency plan is the meaningful. Just calling the fire brigade, giving the siren, opening the water spray, and opening the hydrants, that is not going to serve any disaster. The disaster management can be effective only if organization carried out what if analysis. That is called what if analysis, means what goes wrong and what is control measures for that. If this analysis is done, is every weak point a mock exercise is to be carried out. Then if it is done periodically, if this has happened, that exercise will be knowledgeable for everybody, not only for fire brigade, for safety, fire, plant operation, and state fire brigade. And also we should include the such kind of a disaster mock drill community also. If this is happening, what is the response of the community? Then this will be an effective. This is actually we are not doing this kind of a practice. That's why we are failure after failure after failure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all our expert and the audience. Now here we are going to close our session and we'll meet soon again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thanks for giving opportunity.
Thank you, madam.